Eventually Grant comes to believe that Jefferson can be more than a convict, more than an oppressed black man. He comes to believe that Jefferson can change society. Through the simple act of believing and telling Jefferson of his belief, Grant changes Jefferson's life. He encourages Jefferson not just to believe in himself, but also to conceive of himself as a man more important than any man to live in their town. Everyone, including Jefferson, always believed that Jefferson had to learn his lowly place, but Grant teaches him that he can define his own place. Grant helps Jefferson at first reluctantly, and in order to succeed in teaching Jefferson how to save himself, Grant himself must undergo a series of changes. These changes occur during his interactions with Jefferson, but also with Vivian, with Reverend Ambrose, and with himself. Only when Grant changes can he help Jefferson. Only when Grant realizes and confesses that he needs a savior does Jefferson become a savior. Gaines chooses the contents of the novel based on what Grant, the narrator, thinks important. We have access only to what Grant sees and hears and feels, and Grant shows very little interest in Vivian's children. He only speaks of them once, and even then he only mentions them as part of a bid to be alone with Vivian. To Grant, the children represent obstacles to his relationship with Vivian. He speaks about running away with Vivian without thinking about the effect moving would have on her children. Although Grant muses about what to name his future children, we never learn the names of Vivian's children. The fact that Grant virtually ignores Vivian's children is only one symptom of his failure to respect her. Grant's self-centered perspective allows very little room for Vivian. He visits her only when he needs comforting and encouragement. He acts surprised when she visits him at his home. We know a few basic facts about her past, and we know that she is very beautiful. Beyond these details, however, Grant gives us very few glimpses into her life. That said, Gaines suggests Vivian's disapproval and pain in the face of Grant's inconsiderate actions. When she finally breaks down and tells Grant of her unhappiness, we are not as surprised as Grant. This novel chronicles not just Jefferson's transformation, but also Grant's transformation. By writing from Grant's point of view, Gaines emphasizes Grant's experience and transformation above the changes wrought in the other characters. Gaines could have used a third-person narrative, but Grant's telling of his own story allows us to understand the self-deceptions, the insights, and the small moments of change that mark Grant's gradual change. Also, because we likely identify with Grant more than with Jefferson, reading from Grant's perspective forces us to imagine our own reactions to the impossible situation. 1. Why does Reverend Ambrose call Grant uneducated? 2. How does Jefferson change Grant's life? How does Grant change Jefferson's life? 3. To what degree does Jefferson control his own transformation? 4. Is Jefferson a hero? Is Grant? 5. How does Jefferson compare to other inspirational figures in this novel? Jackie Robinson, Joe Louis, Jesus Christ. How does Grant compare to them?